Hey, 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 good morning, everybody. My name is Ben Soley. I am the Director of Engagement at Canopy. We are an organization that helps grow Kentucky businesses to positively impact people, planet, and our future. And we are working here in Louisville, Kentucky to help businesses incorporate a social or environmental mission or commitment to be able to help them have a greater impact. And as part of our work, we had when pre-COVID times, people would stop by our office to chat and share ideas. And once we all went to be healthy at home in quarantine, we discovered that we were kind of lonesome and we really missed those conversations, not only for the actual in-person interaction, but also the shared ideas, because so much of good business is around sharing ideas, creating a roundtable where people can share their experiences, good and bad. So we decided we would start a live streaming platform called the Canopy Cafe. It started humbly on Instagram as a go live with, and now we've grown it to this point with all you all watching. Really appreciate you all being here. Today's show, we've got a really cool company that is doing great work in the environmental space with fashion and beauty called BioGlitz. We got the founder and as well as the COO joining us today to share a little bit more about how you can be beautiful and have a positive impact on the planet. But first, we're going to check in with Canopy's very own Alex Page to check in on highlights from the good business world. Hi, Alex.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing real good, really good. It's Thursday. Things are charging along towards a weekend.
Yes, and I'm excited for it, even though it all kind of feels the same sometimes. But
yeah, sometimes there's a little bit of muddle, but you know, we live the new norms that we have.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I love your hair, by the way.
My hair?
Yeah, you're two-toned.
Thank you. I am two-toned. He called me that the other day.
What's going on in the good business world?
So there's a lot, and I actually just chose these two articles mainly just because I connected with them the most, but there's really a lot of good things happening right now, even though sometimes it maybe doesn't feel like it with all the bad news that gets spewed out over a lot of the different platforms. But the first one that I have is talking about plastic toothbrushes. So did you know that your toothbrush is actually one of the main contributors to the climate crisis, which sounds like a terrible
toothbrush or your toothbrush?
Huh?
My toothbrush or your toothbrush?
Probably both of our toothbrushes, even though I recently did get a bamboo toothbrush. So hopefully I'm kind of on the right track. We'll see.
Good on you.
But so years ago, there was someone named Kahi Picaro, who's the founder of Sustainable Coastlines in Hawaii. He began to pick up plastic on the beach in a lot of beach cleanups that he's organized around the state. And he said, like quite a few years ago, or just a few years ago, there were only a few pieces of plastic trash on the beaches. But now he's gotten to the point where you can pick up 20 to even 100 toothbrushes a day whenever they're doing the plastic cleanups. And so the reason's kind of simple for this. The total number of plastic toothbrushes being produced, used, and thrown away each year has grown steadily ever since the first one was made back in the 1930s. And because plastic is essentially indestructible, that means that nearly every toothbrush made since the 1930s is still out there in the world somewhere living on as a piece of trash. So it makes sense why these types of toothbrushes are the only ones being produced. They're pretty perfect at what they do, pretty easy and cheap to produce. So the problem primarily lands in the disposal of them. So luckily, there are a couple of businesses, well, actually quite a few at this point, that are starting to hop on this problem. And so in response, some companies have pivoted back to the natural materials, like I was mentioning, bamboo toothbrushes, or even wood or boar bristles that you would use along with that. And so the bamboo handles can solve part of the problem, but even still a lot of the bamboo brushes on the market still have nylon bristles. So that part of the brush has to be thrown away, and then you can recycle the bamboo brush. So it's not the perfect solution, but we're on the way there, and at least we know that the problem is happening. But it just goes to show that sometimes with these terrible environmental issues that are age old, like businesses are the only ones that are going to be able to provide solutions for them, because government wouldn't put in a regulation around, limiting the amount of plastic toothbrushes being produced or anything like that. So Thought that was really important to mention, just because, like I said, businesses may be the only one to really help us with this issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And people look at climate change from a lot of different perspectives and angles, but one of the angles is that there is a tremendous business opportunity to be able to solve a lot of our environmental challenges. So one opportunity to help solve that, one example of it for sure.
Definitely. And the importance of that is also not just to greenwash your products. So like I said, there are some companies that are creating these bamboo toothbrushes, but they're making it look like it's environmentally friendly when a lot of people are still unaware that they have to get rid of those bristles, which can be kind of a lengthy process. So really trying to work to solve this issue by embedding it into your business rather than just being like, oh, this is something we can make money off of. So.
Right. Heard. Yeah.
So another news headline that I have is all about intersectional environmentalism. I might have said that wrong. I'm sorry. I'll correct myself. But recently in Canopy's 27 Learning Campaign, which was, if you don't know, a campaign to inform and support business owners who are interested in incorporating more DE&I practices into their businesses, especially for Black employees, customers, and community members in wake of the recent racial justice protests. One topic that we discussed was intersectionality. So, which, if you're not familiar, intersectionality describes how race, class, gender, and other individual characteristics intersect and impact one's livelihood. So an example of this would be how possibly one's Black identity and their queer identity as well intersect and provide them a perspective into the world, as well as show certain challenges that that happen in their life. So with that in mind, recently a girl named Leah Thomas, who is a climate activist, popularized the phrase intersectional environmentalism. So which is a form of client justice that advocates for both the protection of people as well as the planet. So what simply started as a social media post about an inclusive anti-racist branch of environmentalism is already blossoming into a new fixture of the current environmental activism movement, which is really cool. So when she was asked to describe it, basically she said, intersectional environmentalism is the type of environmentalism where both people and the planet are considered. So both social and environmental justice are considered, and they're actually talked about in the same conversation, because in her opinion, those things are very interconnected, which makes a lot of sense, because when you look at data with environmental racism and who unfortunately feels the impacts the harshest right now of environmental injustices, it's typically low income and Black and brown communities. So because this is a new intersectional social justice issue, intersectional environmentalism is going to require attention from companies in the future. So it's really important for businesses of the future, and even to starting today, to create a culture of inclusion that allows employees to bring their full selves and feel like they can speak out about this identity.
Yeah, so important. There's a lot of talk about, environmental, climate change is a civil rights issue. It's a social issue. It's really, we all have to live here, and we all have to figure out how to make space and care for each other. So there is a lot of important work going on in that intersectional space.
Definitely.
Yep, for sure. Well, is that all you got for us today?
I think it is, but I'll be back soon with more news headlines. So
For sure. Well, would you mind staying on to talk with our guest today?
Oh yeah, sure.
Nice. Well, today we have a company that is kind of redefining, aiding, pushing things forward with environmental impact in the beauty and fashion industry. They're called BioGlitz, and they put out biodegradable, or they help create partnerships in the fashion industry with biodegradable glitter. And they have a really clear environmental mission, and they're a woman-owned business, and they're badass. And we're really excited to have them on the show today. So please make welcome the CEO of BioGlitz, Rebecca. And there's Morgan too, COO, right? COO.
I'm CEO and Morgan's COO. Yeah.
And you're both shiny.
Yes, that's the important thing. Yes, always.
Always. Well, for folks that don't know, tell the folks listening about BioGlitz. What your products are like and what your mission is.
So we are BioGlitz. We are a biodegradable glitter company focused on merging sustainable shine with design. So traditional glitter is made out of microplastics. So it's really harmful to our earth. When you wear it, it's most often worn cosmetically. So when we wash it off, it enters our waterways and it never biodegrades. So that's why we saw the importance in creating a biodegradable glitter so that it wouldn't aid in changing our climate. And we could still all be shiny and sustainable at the same time.
Yeah, and what environment do people want to be shiny in? Like, where do you usually sell your product?
Well, we sell it to all different kinds of people. There's the festival crowd, there's the fashion crowd, the drag crowd, but part of our mission is to really normalize glitter and just show that it can be something you just throw on, and we wear it out to Kroger, So we want it to be, because it brings so much joy when you wear it and people see you shining and just being really unapologetic with your look. So that's our mission.
Well, and I know that, typically this time of year, you all be very busy getting product to the folks at Burning Man, right?
And all over, probably any kind of festivals, really. And then given, the COVID climate, we really have taken a step back from that scene, which has also had its advantages and opportunities. But yes, on a typical year, pre-COVID, we would be spinning our wheels, going to events and spreading sustainable shine during the summertime.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I've pulled some of the slides from your website, just kind of talking about how you all are, your mission of sustainability. And just when talk people through like what your product's made of and how it kind of participates in a more circular economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the core of our film is cellulose derived from plant pulp, which is made from eucalyptus trees. So it's plant-based and therefore biodegrades when it is in a natural environment reacting with the microorganisms there. And we use all natural cosmetic pigments as well. And we just look at everything and how from the very beginning, harvesting stages, making sure it's all harvested sustainably, and to our disposal. Being circular means looking at the entire process and making sure, like Alex mentioned with the toothbrushes, even though some companies are trying to do good by creating bamboo brushes, the bristles are still a problem. So it's really about looking at the entire product holistically.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that even bleeds into like the operations process as far as what our packaging looks like, what our shipping processes look like. We're constantly looking toward optimizing those things that the sum of them do add up to the impact of climate change and how we can mitigate those environmental risks in all of our operations. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I think it's so great whenever companies have an environmental mission, because truly, if they didn't have that environmental mission into their business, if they do it right, then like their business would fall apart. So if you guys weren't biodegradable glitter, then there would be no BioGlitz. So I think that's so important whenever you're trying to tackle an issue, but also just, create it to a part of your company rather than just saying like, oh yeah, we commit to, having biodegradable glitter, but like your company would be fine if it wasn't biodegradable. But it's awesome that it actually is a part of your company and has been from the start. So
yeah,
kudos.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't exist without, our drive of creating a sustainable company. And so we have more people out there listening who have dreams of creating sustainable businesses. Do it, because yeah, you're right. We need that at company's core and center.
Yeah, we call it operationalizing your good, and that makes a big difference and is different and separate from corporate social responsibility, which a lot of corporations give money to various causes, have foundations that have, their own missions. But that's different. And you all are a good example of a, environmental or social enterprise company that incorporates that directly into your operations. How have you all adapted during these times?
Well, as we mentioned before, typically during this time, we would be out at festivals, we would be glitzing people and touching people and, really not staying socially distant. So the adaptation for us has really been, ensuring we stay communicative digitally with everyone we're creating relationships with and doing partnership with. And actually, the timing was interesting because right as COVID hit, we were planning to launch our new textile glitz. So this new line is actually a biodegradable glitter for clothing lines. So I have a little sample shade card to show you right here. Shout out to Katie White, a local Louisville designer who designed this for us. But yeah, so we've been adapting by really, switching gears a little bit from, okay, we're not able to be at the events and glitzing people with our cosmetic glitz, but how do we continue to live out our sustainable mission and push our business forward in a way that makes sense for us and is also good for the environment? And for us, that looks like tackling even a larger issue environmentally, which is the fashion industry, the fast fashion industry, as well as just the impact that it has in the environment in general. So one way we've been adapting is by moving toward our launching our new textile glitz that then tackles another issue of sustainability that we can have a part in and an additional impact in.
Mm-hmm. And when you guys are looking for people to work with, like whether that be suppliers or even like the textile manufacturers that you're working with, do you usually try to find companies that are also sustainable? I would assume, since it's kind of totally embedded within your business.
Yes, we do, although we've thought about it a lot, actually, because we do have really strong values as a company, and sometimes our hearts say, don't work with a company that's participated in creating fast fashion and hasn't committed to sustainability. But we also want to be the ones to introduce the importance of sustainability to these companies and hopefully activate them to change their ways. So,
Yeah, so it's been a good blend of both, of companies, sustainable screen printers or something like that, but also, again, kind of infiltrating the good business opportunity and these conglomerates that may otherwise not be thinking about the sustainable solutions, as Rebecca said, and really, be the champion and the voice of change within the industry.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, well, and Alex can speak to this, but, one of the things that is happening right now within the business to business community is kind of asking other businesses and their vendors to align values. So like what you all were talking about right now, like, are we going to partner with the company if they have, done animal testing? Are we going to partner with a company if they don't have Black representation in their marketing?
Well, that one's a deal breaker, but
right, of course. But that's important. Like, how do you communicate that? And one of the ideas behind a good business certification is you can use that to verify your vendors. Because they're reporting on their diversity numbers, they're reporting on their environmental impact, they're reporting on their social programs, and all that stuff comes together. So you can be assured that like this vendor represents your values that you have as a company, which is really important in these days, especially in the cultural climate that we're in, where consumers are, calling out companies who aren't living up to their commitments and aren't living up to the customer's expectations. And so value alignment is really, really important. And one of the use cases that we see for a certification.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the bucket of corporate social responsibility, it does have to go bigger than that. It can't. Oh, yeah. And I think the first step of companies catching up to this is like, okay, this is where that would go. They're trying to pull it in and putting it in that CSR bucket. But moving forward, it is our responsibility as consumers and also fellow businesses who are creating partnerships to, make that bleed a little bit outside of the corporate social responsibility bucket, and saying, this, if it's a value, it doesn't just live there in this yearly survey you give out every year, or, whatever that looks like for a specific model. It needs to be from the top down and the bottom up, and it needs to really live and breathe within the organization's operations. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I like that what you were saying earlier about introducing companies kind of to the idea of sustainability, because I think people can get caught up kind of in like the elitism of it, whether or not being like, oh, we are only going to work with companies that do these 7,000 things, which is, there's a place for that, and it's understandable why they want to do that. But at the same time, if you're able to be that catalyst for a company to kind of like help them into the sustainable space, I think that that's really great too, because, we all just kind of need an on-ramp to this new way of doing business, rather than feeling like we have to go 0 to 100 immediately. So
yeah, that's a great point, Alex, because, the intimidation factor there of like, we've done things, especially older companies, right? When they've done things and they have these models and operations set in place that work well and have worked every year. And so, why change it if it's working? It's like, to give them drastic change or to try and enforce drastic change can be intimidating to a lot of leadership and also, ground employees. So it is through education and patience. And ultimately, a love and understanding and mutual respect between two people to say like, hey, we're all in this together. So like, come on board. You know what I mean? Like join us. Instead of like you versus us. It's like, let's just do this together because it's the right thing to do.
Definitely. I love the way you articulated that, which is exactly what Canopy is trying to do too. We're trying to be an on-ramp for people, not just put people in a certain group of being like, oh, you are better than everyone else. That's not our mission. That's not in line with our values. We really want to work like you guys and be that catalyst, be that, that entity that helps people and educates people and is patient with people, even if they aren't the most sustainable or ethical company, or maybe they don't, have all those supportive employment opportunities like completely in their business. Like that's okay. As long as you have the right intentions and you're on the right track, like that's definitely enough for us, as long as you're willing to work for it, So
yeah, absolutely. What do you all feel like are, as you survey the business world out there and with all the challenges that we face around, the top headlines, right? Racial justice, climate change, all those things. What do you feel like are the real opportunities right now for businesses?
For businesses in general?
Yeah, certainly maybe for yours if you want to share, but I think just businesses in general. Some of our guests in the past have just kind of talked about, there's really, for those that are willing to listen and kind of digest and then respond, there's a lot of opportunities right now as the world kind of shakes itself up and reboots and reinvents itself. And so just curious to hear from you as entrepreneurs and business owners yourself, what you feel like the opportunities are out there.
Well, I agree with that. I think this is a great time for businesses to kind of sit back and listen to their customers. I think the one positive thing that's come out of all these crises we're facing is just it's given people an opportunity to escape the daily grind of life in a capitalist society. And a lot of people are waking up to these issues for the first time, and I'm seeing a lot of large corporations getting called out for their business practices. And I think it's an exciting opportunity for them to take those call outs as, a learning experience, and to really, they have the time now, they're not working in their normal capacity, and they can really change the way they do business, which is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing that voice from, business owners, female young business owners is really important for folks listening, because it's, you all are the future of business. You may be the present of business now that everything is sped up and we can really see where our social structures lie and where environmental structures lie. Like this is what it means to be a business these days. I mean, you have huge investment firms like BlackRock saying, like, we're not going to advise people investing in your company if you don't have a social mission or you don't have an environmental mission. It's so important these days, and it's going to make going to be even more important going forward. What's next for BioGlitz? I mean, we talked a little bit about textile glitz, and that's really exciting, and exciting to hear about who you're going to partner with that, as well as continuing your partnership with BioGlitter, the company that actually that makes the eucalyptus-based glitter. What's next for you all?
As far as the specific, namely collaborations that we have going on behind the scenes, we're kind of trying not to communicate that just yet. We want that to kind of be a rollout process, but good try, Ben, good try. Yeah, but definitely, yeah. I mean, as we're in this new environment, as we have rolled out the textile glitz, it's all fashion, baby. Like that's what we're doing. We're collaborating with designers. We'll probably be coming out with some stuff of our own to really showcase how the glitz can be applied to clothing. But yeah, I mean, it's continuing and always continuing. And one thing that I've seen in this business with Rebecca and Saba, the ones who co-founded it, is like, how do we continue to make the biggest impact possible using our resources? And so yet again, that next step is just making textile glitz and introducing that into the fashion world, and once again creating, like, lessening another element in the environment that's detrimental. So keep on the lookout for some textile announcements, some fashion designing announcements that hopefully will start to service in the next couple months. And yeah, that's kind of what's next for us, I think.
Awesome. Well, speaking of fashion, we thought it'd be fun for us and our viewers to get a little lesson on how to increase our shine, as we're all covering most of our face up behind masks these days. So we're hoping you might be able to give us some helpful tips on how to glitz it up with our quarantine masks on.
Oh, for sure. We've got what you need. So in order to, properly glitz yourself, and Rebecca's going to be the beautiful model today, we have a couple things, and all these things can be found on our website. The first thing is some BioGlitz algae glitz glue. So this is actually a algae-based glue that we've created here in a cosmetic lab in Louisville, Kentucky. It goes on great, it wears great, and then when you're ready to take your glitz off after a long day of dancing or going to Kroger or whatever you're doing, you just put some water on it and it kind of slicks off like a gel. So we've got that, and then we've also got a couple colors here. This is our New Dawn, I believe. Mm-hmm. That one's on our website. We've got Treasure Chest, just to kind of show you all. And these are all glass and metal containers. Again, just talking about the true life cycle of our product, and knowing and being committed to being sustainable and recyclable in that way. So I will open all of my pots of glitz. And Alex, Ben, I hope you all will join me in glitzing yourselves.
All right, so I'm gonna put my glasses off. I'm gonna get my mask on here so that we can know what we're working on.
That's the other thing.
We got okay, so this is our MO these days, right? Everybody's being healthy and wearing their masks. We know that's the best way that we can help take care of each other. But sometimes it gets a little boring, and people can't see our faces. So, like, how can we help that out? Well, the team from BioGlitz is going to help us out.
Yes. Right. So we're going to do it. So the first thing you do is take a little bit of that algae gel. You only need a thin layer. It's really amazing. It works great. So just a thin, just moisture layer on, and you're going to apply it to your desired area. So I'm going to do the eyes up top here. Rebecca's got a great winged eyeliner look, so I'm going to keep with that. And we live together. We've been quarantining together for months now. So I feel it's okay to touch her when I glitz her. What I'm going to do, since Rebecca already has a little bit in the corner of the lids, is I'm going to just add a little bit of a chunky silver to that area. This is a new blend that should be on our site soon called Resplendent. It's a nice silver chunk and dust blend. Pretty.
So how thick should I be applying this?
Not. Are you talking about the glue?
Well, I don't think I've got any of the glue, but I've got plenty of glitter.
Okay, perfect. And you just dab it on your eyelids. Just dab it lightly.
Just dab.
Or a lot. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, it's a learning process.
I think I might have gone a little.
I see it coming out of the window.
That looks good.
Yeah, it does. Oh, here, I'll got a red one to match her mask.
Oh, wow. This is beautiful. Oh, no, just spilled it all over my laptop. Okay, this is not working, but it's a very beautiful red that Morgan so kindly dropped off to me yesterday.
If you embrace the glitz on your laptop, it's like it doesn't even happen, honestly. You just kind of
It's pretty. I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of just become a part of our house.
Yeah.
People come over and it's like, it's covered in glitz. And like, where? I don't see
where
any
is
glitz.
it?
I don't know.
In my younger years, I worked for for about 4 or 5 years with a wholesale florist in Lexington, and every year we had fresh flowers as well as a huge stock of silks, as you do when you're a wholesale florist. And I was the kind of young busboy who would do all the tasks around the shop, and each year we would have to do inventory of all of the silks. And for anybody that's been around silk flowers, there is a lot of glitter in those flowers. And I would, for about 2 months after inventory, I would be absolutely covered in glitter. It was inexplicable. It was everywhere. Everywhere on your body, glitter was. So at that time, maybe that's another business opportunity. Glitter, BioGlitter in florals.
Yes, we have discovered that. I think we've talked to a couple people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame to put plastic on flowers. But the thing about traditional plastic glitter is it sticks to you very easily because there's a lot of friction. But with BioGlitz, not so much. It comes off much easier.
I lied. I found the gel stuff. I just didn't.
Okay, I thought I gave you some.
You did. I failed. So I've got one layer of color on, right?
That's your perk for the planet is what we call that color.
Okay. Perfect. It's not very even. I have a little bit of a Joker look to me here.
You know what? Practice makes perfect.
So okay, I've got one color on. What would be next?
Let's see. Did I give you a silver?
I have, yes. I have. It's like a bronze.
Okay,
sort of
treasure
color,
chest,
like
I think
this.
is one. Yeah, you might take that one and put it kind of like in the more corner inner eye area, just to kind of how I did with mine.
Okay.
To make it transition. I'll show you all Rebecca's too.
Okay. Oh, you got a little swoop going on.
Yeah, to match her beautiful.
Patchily on, but it's a beautiful color. So
Yeah. With the chunkier ones, I find if you fill it in with like that purple you have, Alex, sometimes it creates a more full look. Of course, just the chunky is amazing too. But because that we have so many particle sizes and so many different colors, you can really get a lot of texture wherever you're looking to get it. And as you can see with a mask, it looks great.
All right, so I added a little bit of my gold bronze in there, and my nose is peeking out. How's that?
Perfect. Looks
beautiful.
Why, thank you.
Cute.
All right. Well, this is just one way that you can have a little bit more fun while staying healthy and taking care of folks in your community wearing a mask. You can get in touch and get your BioGlitz products off of their website stay shiny at bioglitz.co. Thank you all for hopping on the Canopy Cafe with us, and super grateful that not only are you, kind of having an important impact on the environment, but also helping people find their own shine and beauty in the world, because it's so important for, a lot of change starts with people and how they feel about themselves. And I think that's a wonderful kind of social mission that's part of what you're all doing as well, is beauty and appreciation.
Thank you. It was great to talk to you all today, and thank you for anyone out there listening. We appreciate you all and what you do as well.
Absolutely. All right. Well, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
All right, that was the team from BioGlitz, a biodegradable glitter fashion company. They're doing lots of really cool things out there in the world. You can stay in touch with them at bioglitz.co. And let's see here. Canopy just wrapped up our 27 campaign, which was a 27-day campaign with learning opportunities for companies and individuals to promote and encourage greater racial justice within our companies and our communities. We had a really successful campaign with 26 participating companies who all made public commitments to improving their diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we raised about $48,000 to support Black businesses. Super cool. If you, there's still time, you can still participate in the campaign. But we also have launched a new t-shirt line with our tagline, "Good business is anti-racist," knowing that as we listen to the community, it is no longer enough to just not be racist. You must be actively anti-racist. And this is especially true for companies that are trying to increase their representation on their leadership and in their workforce. So you can get those t-shirts on our website. That's canopyky.org, canopyky.org. We would love for you to get involved and stay in touch with you. You can sign up for the newsletter there on the website. And also you can sign the Charter for Good Business, which is a online document where you can sign your name to a list of shared beliefs that our founder and CEO, Scott Collins, has designed after years and years of talking with and researching, businesses that are having a positive impact on the planet. So you can find that at our website, canopyky.org. We will be live in your feeds next week at 10 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursday with more ideas in good business on the Canopy Cafe. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next week.